Hey everybody, welcome. Hopefully you are ready to write some code today. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Brendan, and here at Dev Chatter we like to talk about code, write code, and generally just have fun with development. Do we think everybody should spend all of their free time writing code? Absolutely not. I, for one, am a gamer, and I do enjoy a good Twitch stream from time to time, so hence why I stream here on Twitch. I actually have done some gaming streams before, and they're fun, but I also like programming, so hence we have Dev Chatter, a stream for writing code. So, in past streams, we have worked on a few different things. One of the projects that we've been working on, and likely the one we're going to be working on today, is our chatbot. Good morning, Magnus. And also I want to thank C# Fritz, who just auto-hosted us, and I think we also got an auto-host from CodeBytes TV. So we have a couple of those up, so anybody from those channels, welcome. Feel free to join in the conversation. If you enjoy the content, go ahead and give us a follow, and I guess I will probably talk to you when I'm at CodeBytes TV and C# Fritz streams as well. So as I said, we are working on a Twitch chatbot. I say it's a Twitch chatbot only because that's the current service that we connect to. We will be connecting it to other services as well in the future, but right now we're just connecting to that one. And since we know that we want to connect it to other chat services, we have kept the Twitch aspect of our code separated out. So I'm going to give a quick review of where we are, what the program does. We don't respond too much yet. We're mainly just building the structure around what we're doing and how we're trying to connect. And I'll go over a little bit of that now. So to start off with, we did a fairly simple structure to the bot. We have a, I guess, .NET Core project that's just a console application that is our bot right now. So if I run this, and I'll drag it onto the screen so you guys can see it, because Windows hates loading the command prompt on that one. So you will see that it's just running as a console application right now. Obviously in the long run we're going to give some kind of UI to this, but most of our code doesn't really have to do with the console anyway, so it doesn't really matter what's running our bot. So at this point it runs here. The next thing of interest about it, we set up a couple of other pieces. The first one is we have interval messages, so essentially messages that just go out on some periodic basis. So the main one that we've got here is there's a message that will go out and just every, we'll say 15 minutes, I think is what it's set to. It'll just remind you to click the follow button. So anybody that's running a Twitch stream wants to make sure that you click that follow button so that you get notifications of when the stream is live. So our bot will remind anybody that's in the stream, hey, make sure you click that, and that's how the bot, I guess, helps us out as a streamer. So that's what it does right now, and we can configure any number of messages that we want that are triggered on an interval. The intention is for that to be set up probably with a UI screen, and we'll add messages and we'll say, hey, the type of the message is an interval, and then you just define the interval, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you guys can imagine what that UI is eventually going to look like. And it's possible that we might do it as a universal Windows app, or we might do WPF, or we could stick this in the web somewhere. I'm expecting it's probably going to live somewhere on the web. But we'll see. The reason I think it might end up living on the web is only because and web I use loosely here. I should specify be hosted in some kind of web application, whether that lives locally or elsewhere. The reason I say that is anybody that has used any streaming software, say OBS or any of the others, knows that I will show you that in a second, Magnus. Knows that the way that those tools work is they usually reference a browser location or something else to do alerts and notifications and things like that. So when someone follows the channel, there's usually some audio that plays and some kind of visual that shows up. Whenever someone cheers, the same kind of thing happens. So you get notifications when someone does this. And that'll pop up right on the middle of the screen, so like up there somewhere there'll be a box that appears with a little animation. And that, as I said, is referencing a browser address. So you can reference localhost, obviously. So you could set it up that way, or you could point to whatever service you want to put, say Azure, AWS, wherever you want to stick this. Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so Magnus asked, what do I use to fire up the automated messages? So I'm actually not doing anything interesting for the automated messaging in this system. The intention is to just have a thread that's off on its own and just, waits around. I didn't actually send it to its own thread yet because I wanted to keep the bot running. So the bot actually just has an infinite loop that keeps itself going. And the plan is to kick it a thread off and have that one be it. But I need a thread keeping the bot going since it's a console application anyway. So I just used the main thread for now. Once I need the main thread to do something else, say like if I want to actually take the user interaction, so allow someone to do something in the program, then yeah, I'm going to kick that onto its own thread and do that. So for now, we literally just have an infinite loop running. And actually it is in here, inside of the bot main. You'll see that we just did a begin loop and literally just did a while true. So the only way to actually stop the bot right now, that's why I tell you, it's like just Control-C to get yourself out of it. So I wasn't really worried about that. We just wanted to wire it together and make it work. So that's all we did today for that piece. The more interesting one is going to be the commands. So we set up right now, we have just a hard-coded command, and that's the piece I wanted to look at today, unless someone wants us to jump somewhere else, at which point we can. So shout out if you want to look at something else or do something else with the bot, because we're just sort of building it. So my plan is I want to be able to set it up so that essentially the programmer, not the programmer, the user of our bot, so whoever's running it, in that case the streamer, can create their own messages. So right now the only one we have is, whoops, not that one, it is interval triggered message. So we have interval triggered messages, which are the ones I talked about, which say essentially every once in a while, it's just time to run it again. So they just keep track of when they previously ran, and it's dead simple how these ones work. We didn't do anything fancy with these. We're also not going to do anything all that fancy with the next ones, which are going to be, I'm thinking command response. Hey, thank you for the bits, Crimson Green. Did I mention that we're now a Twitch affiliate, so people can actually subscribe and cheer and things like that? I've actually got someone working on some emotes for the channel, so those should be fun. So I said these were going to be called command response messages, and we'll see what we want to do with them. I'm just going to kind of organically create them. So, and we're probably going to notice that we aren't going to like our interface once we start creating these, but we'll see how that goes. Crimson Green, yes. It was basically just automatic. Like a minute after I finished my stream, I had an email. So yeah, it's Twitch has that down to a well-oiled machine. So okay, I am going to set this up with a default value. Whoops. Is it really not going to give me... Nope, it won't. Okay. That's fine. We are going to set our initial value to be a draft. So when you create one of these, it's automatically a draft item. And you'll have to set this once you get that. Yeah, Crimson, basically you get an invite email the moment you have the criteria met. So what he's referring to is becoming an affiliate with Twitch, and they actually have like 4 requirements, and once you reach all 4, they automatically send it out to you. Magnus, initializing a property like this is a new feature. Yes, that is relatively new in C#. Essentially, all this is doing is setting the backing field. So, long time ago, back in the early days of C#, we always had to actually have a backing field. So there would really be one of these behind every property. But then they got rid of those, and they hid them away with auto properties. But now they've actually built in that you can set the initial value, because that was always the problem with an auto property. So it used to work like this, where you'd have a backing field with an assigned value, and your getter would always be explicitly written out. But now you can assign the value, and that is the same as if I'd done this code, where I have a private variable that I'm just setting. So that's all it does behind the scenes. We can actually take a look at the compiled code and see that, but I'm not planning on doing that right now. And it is yelling at me because this is running. Sorry, bot, you will not run long enough to actually send out your message. Okay, so we want this to be a command response. So there's a property that I know this thing is going to need, and that property is going to be the command text. So this will be the text that the command looks for, and whether this ends up being internal only or not, I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. Actually, I think I want to allow that to be set, but let me take a look at what I did with the interval triggered message. Did I? Oh, I just passed it in the constructor. That's interesting. That was silly of me. I guess I can. Yeah, see? Passed me solved that problem once. So, looks like when we set up the previous one, we just made it so that this was a value that came in from the constructor. Initialize property from constructor. There we go. And I'm going to give it a default value because I don't want to set it every time, because draft is the obvious default value for this. So now I do have an empty constructor, you just don't see it. The command text I also want to send in from the constructor, and it put it first because, at least for now in C#, the default values have to be the last items. That may at some point change. I think that's in a proposal for 8, but I'd have to confirm. There have been a number of things that are in proposals for C# that don't make it in. For example, what are they were calling it? Primary constructors, I think is what they were calling it, when they were planning on putting those in C# 6. But now they are doing... my brain will not come up with that word. Essentially, they're adding in some F# functional programming concepts into C#. So if you've been paying attention to a lot of the recent updates to C#, Most of what's been put into like 6, 7, and is going into 8. A lot of those bits come out of functional programming, as F# is basically like the playground which C# is using to expand itself. Okay, so I want to pass in the command text, initialize. So current time, when we originally created current time, I mentioned that's basically going to be our state object for now. And when the time comes, we'll replace that with an object that actually has the state of the bot, so that there could be more relevant information than just time, because most of the automated messaging is not really going to care about the current time. Okay, so is it your time to display? That may not matter. Get message instance, that may not matter. This one should be easy enough. Yeah, so that state object there, I think, is going to be something along the line. In an instance like this, that state object is going to pass in information like who's triggering it. So, for example, it might we might want to put in the name of the user in our response. For now, I'm just going to hard code that in there as just returning hello. And then this, I'm not going to do anything with. And is it your time to display? I'm going to return false for now. So these messages will never display. Okay. So I want these to be our responses to commands. So essentially what that means is if we go to the place where we are currently responding, which should be not here, on command received, right here. I feel like this should be a separate class. I don't know what you guys think here. I feel like we shouldn't, like bot main, shouldn't really have any concept of the fact that we have commands and responses to commands. So, maybe the command handler. It handles commands sent to the bot. I don't know what you guys think about that name. Let me know if you think that name is great or terrible, because I would love to know. I'm going to make a method called foo for now, and that's basically what I'm going to call in on this thing. The next thing that I want is, since I want this thing to be handling those, it needs to have a collection of chat clients. I know it's going to need that dependency, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce that. Not sure what foo is going to be yet. Probably this, actually. So maybe it is this method and this method. So I'm going to put these in. I'm just going to copy them for now, but I'm probably going to fully just chop them out of that. But our wire up event handlers is going to be public. So what I'm thinking, and yell at me if you think I'm crazy, is that inside of our bot main, we'll create a command handler, or maybe it'll be given to us, doesn't matter. It'll have the same set of Twitch clients that the bot main is using, and we'll have it wire up these events and start running the commands. So for now, we're just going to set it up. It's only going to respond to coins, and then we'll make it so that it uses our command objects for this. And I think we want instances of those. So this coins one, I'll create one of these, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so this gets called right here. So let's and yeah, I'm gonna pull this up. So just chat clients, not Twitch chat clients. I am smoking something. I'm not really smoking anything, guys. We'll create that in the constructor for now, and then we'll do a command handler dot wire up, which means this method's no longer being called, which means this method's no longer being called. Okay. So I'm kind of okay with creating this here. Why not wire up event handlers in constructor? Let's see. I should be able to, actually. There's no reason. There you go. I would put that in there, but I want to have access to it the whole time the bot main exists, and I don't want it to disappear. Oh, in the constructor of the command handler. Ooh, I probably can. Yeah, that doesn't cost me much. I could put it in there. Initialize field from constructor. That's hilarious. We did it that way. These don't really need to exist in here. Okay, so the one thing I do want to make sure that I'm doing is always maintaining a nice reference on these, because I don't want garbage collection to ever, you know, mess with me and get rid of something that I actually need. So yeah, we'll put those in there, and that'll work fine. That's a good suggestion. Chat clients are actually not connected by default, so we do have to connect them. But because of the way that we're wiring up, I think your suggestion's safe. That's why I paused for a moment and thought about it. The idea is I can connect to their events without it actually being connected to Twitch or whatever other chat we want to be connected to. So it should still be fairly safe to do it this way. But yeah, that is a very good question. Okay, so right now we just have this hard-coded one. I'm going to run the bot again, just to confirm everything's working since our change. And yes, I know I could write a test for this, and I intend to. Okay, good. It is responding. So the bot responded with our message. So we know that that code still works. Well, actually, we don't know that it still works. The other bot will respond if you ask for points. Okay, so we'll try that. That'll tell us if this is really working or not, because the message will have changed. So toss that on screen, you guys can see the bots running. And if I ask for coins, it'll go ahead and respond. So the message changed, so it's really working. Okay, cool. Yep. Good suggestions there, though, Magnus. I like those. Pair programming win. Okay. So I like that. That's nice. So command handler's doing this piece. Now we want to, instead of just matching an individual one and doing this switch, I instead want to see if we have any commands. So we took in the chat clients. Yeah, exactly. You're totally right, Crimson. Pair programming slows you down because it makes you write better code, which slows you down. Command response message. So I think the only ones this is going to care about are command messages of some kind. So for now, the only one we've got is this. I'm expecting that we'll actually implement an interface that's about command messages. So actually, I am going to drop that interface and instead make an iCommand message. Command message. We're going to make that interface, move it out of here, which puts it next to the automated messaging. I also love rubber duck debugging. Any of you guys ever have software craftsmanship calendars? Hang on. Software craftsmanship calendars. So, Magnus, rubber duck debugging means that if you walked into my office and wanted me to help you debug something, rubber duck debugging would be that instead of talking to me, I had you talk to the duck instead. Because a lot of times just talking through whatever your issue is, you end up finding it. So rubber duck debugging is that concept that you can just talk to a rubber duck instead of talking to another person to solve your problem. Some people do it with a stuffed animal or something else. And that's what rubber duck debugging is. So I love the concept. It's a very good one. So these are all... Yeah, there is a word for it. Rubber duck debugging. I'm a big fan of that term. So the software craftsmanship calendar that I was talking about, and I brought that one up because we did rubber duck debugging one time. Not sure why it didn't show up in the search. I guess no one has put it anywhere. Yeah. Yep. You explain to the duck, and you will find your problem. So, I brought up the software craftsmanship calendar, and I figured I'd show you guys what it is. We didn't actually make one for 2018. I actually used to work on this calendar, so we would do all kinds of interesting things, so different principles you might be aware of in programming. Not always best practices, sometimes it's just known bad stuff, and we make jokes out of it, so like the duct tape coder, for example, seems to work, ship it. You can watch me walk off a cliff. That's actually me right there in the front of that little group of people. And for the record, we're not green screened there. We really are standing on that cliff. Thank you very much. That was actually terrifying because you can't actually tell from the picture, but like the cliff edge is much, it's at an angle there. So I am actually standing on the edge of a cliff there, like an inch from it. And just various other things. So... single responsibility principle. Just ridiculous pictures for stuff. So, it's kind of fun. Anyway, back to writing code. So, the couple of things that I'm expecting that any kind of command message is going to need. You had another 50 centimeters before you reach it. Oh, yeah. Thanks, I'm Hex, I know. We actually had pictures. We had different orders when we did that, so we had plenty of other people standing on the edge, and I can tell you, it doesn't freak you out as much when you're standing on the edge as when you see someone else standing on that edge when you were up there, because you're like, oh man, you're close to that. You're like, and you don't feel quite so bad when it's you, but it's freaky. Don't stand on the edge of cliffs. All right, so command text. These we really don't care about setting them, but we do care about being able to get this. So the one thing that I think that's going to make all list of substitutions also a really good one. That little rubber duck. Oh, yeah, feet dangling for that. Yeah, sitting on a cliff isn't quite as scary as standing on an edge of a cliff. Speaking of which, the person behind me did at one point touch my back while I was standing on that cliff edge. So that'll freak you out, too. Especially when it's the person standing behind me is actually a good friend of my wife, so thankfully didn't want to kill me. So yeah, Yeah, that one right there. She did not want to kill me, which is good. And you mentioned a couple of the other ones. So Liskov substitution. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, but needs batteries, you probably have the wrong abstraction. So, we are probably gonna, like, we're already technically violating Liskov substitution in this code base, but that's mainly for the piece that we don't really use, and we're planning on changing our interfaces. So, feature creep's also good. So Crimson mentioned a couple of those. So command message. There we go. So we're gonna make this command message, and what I wanted to do was change this to use a list of command messages. So I'm gonna store this as a field for now. Essentially, I'm figuring that it's likely that even so, the simple case, our simple response one, is just going to respond back with some text. Some of the other ones might actually do things, and so all of those are going to be command messages of some kind. Actually, there might even not be a message, but either way, we'll leave it with that name for now because that's what it is. Probably good enough. So what we're going to do is we are going to say that there should be one or more commands that this person, whomever triggered this, must have been calling. So we're going to do a first or default on the command message, and we're going to say go ahead and grab the first one where the command text equals e.command word. Right, and this will get us the command message that they called. Or null, obviously. So, essentially, if we got a command message, then what we want to do is say command message, and then process. I don't know. What do we want to call this? So the circumstances I'm thinking is, in some cases, there's an immediate response. In other cases, we're just creating other things based on it. So we could do almost anything. So hence, I like the idea of having a response. Or maybe say, go ahead and process it or something like that. Not sure what you guys think on that one. I'm going to say process for now. Because I don't want it to immediately respond. And the reason why I don't want it to immediately respond is because in most cases there's not going to be an immediate response. There's going to be some kind of a trigger. But maybe we want to have all commands have a response anyway? Save responses in some sort of container in the bot. Yeah, I was actually thinking that it might make sense to trigger off some other kind of message from this. To trigger off a response message, but also do something. But I'm thinking the command might be what triggers the message. What do you guys think about that? And actually, this is part of core. It could take the command received event args. It could just take that full thing. I really think we could. Also, we're not really using that chat client object in here. Although we need to know which chat client triggered it, don't we? Okay. So I am going to pass these in. So we'll give it the chat client that called it and the event args that triggered it. So this will get added to the interface. So this is the maybe triggering client. This is the and our event args. Yeah, I could save it in a, so saving in a container in the bot kind of works, but it doesn't give me the right container every time, which is the only thing that's getting me on that one. So, okay, I'm going to turn off the bot for now so that we don't run into problems with that. Let's go ahead and go to our command response. We don't need initialize or the message instance or date or anything like that. We no longer need, actually we do want that. We do probably want a status. Will you have multiple bots per chat client? Not within the single program, I wouldn't think. I think we're only going to have one bot running. So we're just going to run a single bot connected to the chat client. So since we're doing that, we can depend on that being an individual class for now, and have it hold any messages that need to go out. So we could trigger it based on an event message of some kind of a domain event, for example. If that's what you're thinking. So as part of this, I mean, we could send out, we could put the response in right here, right? We could just say, when we process it, right now, we could just send a message and say, you know, whatever value we want. Actually, let me put that in our, since this is just a command response message. Yeah, I was thinking of a class that handles each response in case that logic becomes more complex. Yeah, so for this one, this is a simple response, so this one's going to be easy. But you're right, the next one's going to be more complicated. So we'd want to handle it with something else. So what we haven't thought, so I'm going to rename this. I'm going to make this simple static, maybe static command response. So this will be, this one is going to have nothing, no variables, nothing. This is just, we respond straight up with a single word. So this one is going to be our coins one. That's funny. It's totally correct. We can do that. So let me go ahead and put that in here really quickly. So I want to have string, what did we call this? Static response. So we're just going to go ahead and make that a local read-only. And we're going to say, when we do this, we're going to call on the triggering client. We're going to send out a message that is that response. We're going to totally ignore the event args and just call out that message when we get this one. Okay. So, in order to make that work, then I need to go in here into my fake data, and I need to add an additional type of message. So this is get those messages, but I need to get the other messages too. Private static list of iCommand messages. Get, steal that. Get iCommand message, plural. And for this one, we are going to return a new list of those and put in our new static command response message, oops, with command text is going to be coins. Our static response is going to be coins. I think we meant points. And our status will be active for now, so we're just going to go ahead and create that one. Whoops. Meant to do that. Okay, so now let's go to where this got called, and fake data, this is get command messages. These are command messages. What were we doing with these? Passing them in, serializing them into that, and then we're yanking them out. Okay. So we are funneling these all through a data store and then yanking those out. Did I actually finish writing that? That's kind of funny. I'd forgotten that I'd finished that. Let's see. Do you guys actually remember me finishing that? I don't remember finishing that. Okay, anyway, let me just put in null there for now. Make sure this thing super bombs. I'm going to make this a property that gets passed in. I can't use chat clients from this. Okay, that's fine, because I actually still have it out there. Interesting. Right, because I don't even call this in here. That is really hilarious, actually. So it's graying out the command handler here because I'm not actually using it here, because the command handler doesn't do anything. To be honest, it just kind of wires together and exists. So it's kind of weird like that. Yeah, let's take a look. So what were we using our repository for? So our repository we used to get our list of messages, and that's how we wired up our messaging system with those. Okay, we can do that same concept, but do that as part of our command handler. So I am going to have it get me an I command message. We're going to ask it to list us all of these, and we're going to ask for an active message policy for now. So in order to make this work, what I'm going to have to do is add in an interface that is a parent of these two. So basically, this policy works on interval triggered messages because it knows that they have those. Let's go ahead and automated message has this value. This one needs it as well. But really, I want to make an interface that is a parent of both of these. So this is going to be an iData item, which I feel kind of dirty even suggesting that as a name. so please don't kill me. I feel just as bad about it as you do, I'm sure. That is going to need a new location eventually, but it can live in messaging until I decide to move it. So what that's going to let me do, I think, is make this a data item. There we go. Which means this no longer needs to have it explicitly on it. Cannot convert from active message data policy to an I specification of I command message. Ooh, interesting. It won't actually change the type. So what I'm going to do is I am going to let the active message policy, instead of being an I data item, now here's where we're going to get a little tricky. We're actually going to make this an active message policy of type T, and we're going to say where T is an I data item. So essentially now the active message policy is going to be generic for whichever type we need it to be in this case. And in order to make sure that it has one of these properties, we're saying that whatever T we pick has to be has to implement this interface. So I think that ought to fix my problem here of this not allowing me to pass that. There we go. Which means, since our active message policy took it, the list doesn't need to specify it anymore because we put it on the active message policy. Okay, so we're going to need to fix the other location where we used that. There it is. So and before, it looks like I had used the that, but I didn't need to. Oh, I have insert on. That's why it's behaving horribly. Like a piece of crap. Okay, there is no implicit reference conversion from... What? Didn't I make that inherit? No, I didn't. So occasionally I'm an idiot, and I forget to do things. See? See? One thing I love that has been going around the developer community is this message of we are all beginners. And I love that idea because it's sort of saying it doesn't matter how long you've been programming, we are all beginners. The things that we look up, the things we do, it's kind of to fight the imposter syndrome that exists within the development community. So I really love that people are pushing that so much more now. So, okay. So in theory, we have adjusted this. Our automated messages should work. Hang on. I need to fix the way my fake data works. It seems to crash it like every time when I start an I command message doesn't exist. What? Why didn't you just make it, thing? Could not find I command message.json. Didn't I make it? Let me take a look at my fake data again. I probably just didn't pass in the thing I needed. String builder. Oh, yeah. No, I put it all in the other one. Yep, foolish me. Oh, hey, sorry. Yeah, that is a good suggestion. Sadly, the bot doesn't like you posting a link. But you only got timed out for a second. But yeah, you suggested going to tools, and then you'll take a definition extension. Oh, control click to get a definition extension. Oh yeah. I could turn off the extension, and it would get rid of that. Yeah, the productivity tools are weird, to be honest. Do they actually have is the extension actually in here? Does it have its productivity power tools? There it is. There we go. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Because that is actually an annoying one. I am not a big fan. Okay, so here's what I didn't do right. File path, it does that one, so I need to separate this out so that we do this as two separate things. JSON serializer, file exists, file create thing. So this is like write a file. So I am going to extract that as a method that's called new method because that's the best name ever for a method. Okay. File path, create, string builder. How is it? Okay, so we pass in the string builder we want to use for this thing, and it creates based on that. And it doesn't know what the type is. So I am going to pass this value in, which is the file type we're making. This is data type name. Let's go ahead and change everything about this because new method sucks. Write data file system. I really need to just put the database in this thing. So I was just like, yeah, no, we'll just wait and get rid of that. But I need to do it sooner rather than later. Data type name, and then that's the data. And actually, I am going to pull this as a string. So string text to write. Get rid of the string builder. Okay. So there's the first one. Because I'm wanting to reset it. Serializer, and then we're going to do one of these. Write the data. And instead of name of that, we're going to name of these. And we'll see what it builds for us. I'm not 100% that this is going to work, but we'll see what we get. Okay. Create. These are the interval triggered messages. Whoops. Helps if I don't shift my hand on my keyboard before I type. Probably going to pass that in as a parameter in a second. Yep. Okay. So now I can duplicate this method and do the same thing here. And the only reason I separated these out is just because I think it's a little nicer to put it in here. String writer. I was using the same string writer. Whoops. Put it up there for now. That's fine, thing. You're okay. Alright. So this one's not creating those, it's creating these. And there's probably more repeat code that I can pull out of this thing and make work a little better. But now you can tell these are doing the exact same thing, so why aren't I just passing in the data? But this made it nice and clear that this was the exact same code happening twice. So more of this might actually just be able to come in here. Serializer, data, that, this. So basically, other than the initial, like, get my objects, these are the same now. Okay, cool. So in that case, let's see if we can make this a property. Data to store. Okay. Oh, and this, the type of it. I wonder, can I get that off the list? Anybody know if I can do that? The generic lists. Because it's like the type of the of type. Yeah. Filters the elements. No, based on a specified type. Okay. Oh yeah, if I make the method generic and then pass it in, then I have the T. And make this a T instead. And then I've got T there. Yeah. Or is that going to make it T? Oh, we'll find out in a second. Okay, so I don't need that. Where's my data? Right here. Pull that out as a parameter for now. But now I should be able to call this one, because they should be the same, in theory. They should both call that. I didn't leave it running, did I? Nope. Okay. Let's get rid of that. So we no longer have any data. Let's see what we get. Boom! Crash. That's fine. I thought I might get a crash. Let me try it and see if I still get a crash. Because it looks like it created some stuff. Ah, see, it made T. Alright, so not name of T, we need T.getType, right? Or, ooh, get the runtime type. Yeah, it's not production. This is just test stuff. That test data is just generated by this code anyway. Also, keep in mind, I can just go revert and run it again, because it gets created by this anyway. So I don't want the name of T. I want, like, at runtime what T is. Type of T.name. Because name of got me T. But this should get me what the actual type is, I hope, at runtime. So that, or I can say if there's any get me the first item. Well, yeah, there's always going to be some. So I could just grab the first item and grab the type of the first item, and then that would work. So let's see if this does what I want. If it doesn't, then... hang on. I left my previous instance of this running. Oops. Hey, it made him. Okay, cool. So it did find it that time and got us our bits in here. Did not make that one. Did make this one, it looks like. But we didn't get our commands in there. So let's see what we didn't do. So when we made our commands, we passed in whatever data this gave us back. Should have. But none of these were I commands, so I wonder if that's why it didn't store them. return that new object of these. And when you come in, serialize them. Alright, so create, let's see, store, maybe we'll just... list of those to that. Yeah, that's my plan. I'm just confused by it. I figured I figured I just didn't wire something together, but it seems like... Okay, so first time through should be the automated messages, which we're in. And this has 3 items. I'm actually just going to go quickly and look at it. And this has 1 item. Okay, so this item really is in here. That looks like it really did write it. Text to write has some text. Oh. Okay, so we debug and it works fine. So, there we go. Yep, thank you, Crimson Green. I will automate everything. And thank you, Janiscu, for suggesting the same thing. Clearly our problem is that we just don't have enough automation. Okay, let's see if we're getting a different error now, because actually I noticed that we did. Alright, could not create an instance of that interface for abstract class because it cannot be instantiated. Oh, it doesn't like instantiating the interface type. It wants it to be an instance. Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! Hey, thanks, Yoshimitsu. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so the challenge we're running into here is in our repository, we are trying to extract this as the interface type, and it's freaking out because it doesn't want to deserialize it as the interface because we can't create an instance of that. So we wanted to create whatever type this actually is. So we told it when we were serializing what the type is. So let's see if we can't get that to give us the specific type when we're pulling these out. So could not create instance of that type because it's not that one. First off, I want to take a look at if anybody's got a good guess on that one. I would love to know what people think the... Oh, actually, I didn't show you guys the error. Let me show you guys the error so you don't think I'm crazy. Wonk. Alright, so we're running into this with our... When we deserialize the value, it does not like the fact that we're trying to deserialize into an iCommand message because it can't make that. That's an interface. You can't just make an instance of an interface. So our deserialization wants to use the specific type. So we have the specific type. We just need to get it, I think. So I wonder if I don't specify the type, what it'll do. If I don't even tell it that we're getting a list of T, will it just know? What is this? An object? Huh. Yeah. I guess I could do this? Do I even need that last one? Maybe. Whoops. Yeah, why not? That sounds completely insane. So I was looking for iAutomated message and couldn't find it. When we attempted to call that. Interesting. Why are we looking for that? Instead of stream reader, open file, generic repository list, so line 17 of this. So I build because I like to see the message. It's kind of an old habit with me that I just, run the build. In terms of why I don't F5, I'm doing a Control F5. So I guess the only reason I don't hit a Control F5 is that here, let me show you. So if I have a build error, and I do a Control F5. It's going to go ahead and pop me up this stupid message that I don't care about because I wanted it to fail, and I'm going to have to say no because I don't want to run the old one. I wasn't really just trying to run it. Whereas, sorry, let me put that error back in. If I do this, I don't have to click any stupid message. I just get my errors and then can fix them. So it's whether I want to deal with a text box popping up or not. Yeah, but I mean, I might want it to show up in the times, like, it's nice when I do go to run it, when it does tell me, hey, idiot, you didn't get it. So, I like that box to pop up when I try to run it, and it's broken, so that I know, hey, moron, you tried to run this and it's broken. I don't mind my tool calling me an idiot, as long as it's right. And I mean, it is sometimes. Okay, so that was that question. Someone literally just said, why didn't we automate this? I mean, it is kind of automated. I mean, it was supposed to be automated. I guess the other question would be, why don't we just have this hard-coded if we're just basically hard-coding it anyway? And that'd be a legit question. And I don't know why we don't just have it. Wonk. Yeah, sorry, it thinks that's a, it thinks that's a link. Sorry, Magnus. Oh, yeah, your job? Yeah. Why don't we just automate this? Well, I mean, the answer's always automate everything. I mean, that's kind of our job. Okay, deserialize object, string, type. So you are suggesting that I do read as string, and then the type as this, and you're thinking that this will work instead. Yeah, well, most bots think that's a link. They're dumb about that kind of stuff sometimes. Var list equals deserialize object, and then we're saying that the first parameter is the string value and the second is the type. Okay. What was this, if not a string? Okay. There's full text. And it doesn't like my type as a Oh, type of that. Durr. Yes, I know. That bot that actually is the one that timed you out, Magnus, it is actually not the bot we're working on. Which means, if we write a better bot, then, as Crimson's suggesting, then we could make it not do that kind of thing, and be able to identify, hey, that's not really a URL that was being posted there. Look, I did your thing. I just hit F5 instead of building first. Unexpected character found while reading path 1-1. What? Oh. Yeah, it does need a better regex. I actually love regexes, by the way. I know, I'm the only one. We're going to stop here and take a look at what the text is in this thing. We could actually fix that bot, to be honest. What the? And actually, now that I think about it, if we're just going to grab the full text like this, we don't need a JSON text reader. We can just do this. Is it read to end? Is that the one that we want? Actually, can we just do a file on that? Yeah, it's the Streamlabs bot. Read all text. Yeah, there we go. We're just going to do this. Because screw that thing we were using. So we're just going to read all the text and then immediately close it and not worry about this. Simplify. Full file path text. That. Yep, the Streamlabs chatbot, which I'm sure I've mentioned on here before, is the old Ankh bot, and I'm sure we can tweak it to be smarter about what it considers to be a URL. Could not create an instance of that type as interface or an abstract. Yeah. Still complaining that our type isn't the right one. I think there were settings on this that we could have, right? What did we do? So I'm going to look at what we did when we were storing our fake data, because I know we did something with it to tell it to include the types. At least I thought we did. JSON serializer. Type handling. Yeah. Type names auto. I'm going to see if this is a setting on this that we can modify. Type name handling auto. I wonder if that can get us our types out. Because I really thought it was going to. That's the reason why when we stored them. So you'll notice when I stored this, I have it actually explicitly putting the type. So we'll know what type to pull out. So I'm using Control-Alt-V, which is a resharper command, That's how I'm doing the variable extraction. So if I wanted to yank this type, all I'd have to do is just get it highlighted, and then it comes out as a type. So it's pretty good about that. Lots of tools can do that. It actually, so I've been using it for so long that it changes the way I write code. So most people would write code and they would say var, foo equals, something like this, right? And they would write code that way. I no longer do that. I now start here and then introduce a variable based on it. So I'll be like, new stream reader, and then create the type behind it. So tools have gotten me writing code backwards now. It's very strange. What the? Okay. Deserialize interface. Yep. See? Ducks and eggs and chickens and person profession. Yeah, I profession. So we're going to serialize a profession and need it to come out. Yeah, ReSharper does change a lot of things. There's also Code Rush and Just Code. There are a lot of those types of tools that do a lot of things. Okay, so when we serialize, we put that in there, and we want to get the type back out. So pass in the type, get the type out. We don't have JSON that doesn't connect. Users will use the original serialized version. So what's this guy say to do? Profession converter. Oh, whoa. Makes his own converter. What? I don't get why the converter doesn't just do this, to be honest. Yeah, see? Someone else is having to do their own thing. Well, I can tell you we won't get any response out of James Newton King if we want to actually have him fix Newtonsoft's JSON serializer and deserializer, because I'm pretty sure he goes to the MVP Summit, which means he's busy with stuff on Microsoft's campus right now. So congratulations to you guys. I did not go this year, which means I'm streaming right now. So didn't need custom binders. Cool, good. Let's try random code from the internet. It has never failed me before. Class to deserialize. We mean type to deserialize, right? Serialize object of T. This is going to be full text. No way that random code from the internet could possibly fail us here, guys. Type name handling objects. Interesting. So instead of using auto, we're going to use objects. And then when creating it, I'm betting we're doing the same thing. This is not a list, is it? That's going to be a list of T. Fixed. Okay. So now let's go back to fake data. Where's our serializer? It's right there. So random guy on the internet, don't fail me now. What did you do for your serialization? JSON convert object to serialize is going to be this one. Formatting indented, and settings are these. Ooh, he's using full.net or something, isn't he? Wonder if I really need that. Use type name assembly formatting. Type name assembly format handling instead. Okay, sounds good. So I'm not using exactly what he said, but that's fine. There are many things I like better about this, to be honest. Thank you, random guy on the internet. You are making this much nicer for me. Okay. Store data, that, passing in objects, simple type formatting. I'm going to nuke these two values. Let's go ahead. Yes, I really am going to delete that easily. Also, by the way, those are in my recycling bin, so don't worry too much about them. If I really needed to recover them, I could, but it's fake data. Okay. Cannot access the file. It's being used by another process. What? What? Lies. Scandalous lies. Did I not let go of it or something? Open handler. Yeah, here. Take a look. Could not open automated message.json open handler. Is that close the text? I'm gonna open up, this is, it's a good question. Did I leave one running somewhere? I don't know. I don't need to. All these automatically close when they, like, all these commands, they automatically wrap up themselves, all the statics. Yeah, file.create should close it immediately upon, like, it opens it and closes it. I'm gonna reload Visual Studio here. Make sure that it really, really let go of everything. So, I guess while we're doing this, I want to mention another project that I want to take a look at some point on here. I want to dive into some code that's on the internet that people are talking about. Someone made a Game Boy emulator using .NET Core, and it runs in Docker. And I kind of think that that is one of the most amazing things that I have heard of someone writing in C# in a while. So I don't know about you guys, but that sounds awesome. So I'd love to look at that at some point. Close the file after you create it to be able to read it. You think I'm leaving it open? Could not find file that one. Oh, see, now it says it can't find it. And that's totally different. Oh, wait. I didn't even read that name. That's funny. Look at the name it's looking for. It's looking for iAutomatedMessage.json. We didn't make iAutomatedMessage.json. Which means we want to change this type, I think. Can I make this change and still make it work? So I had switched this in the past because I ran into some problems with types, but I think I changed the issue that we were running into. But I'm not 100% on that, because I know we futzed around with it a little bit. Okay, so it appears to run. I'm going to kill it again, and the reason I'm going to kill it is because I'm going to set this message to happen once every minute. So prepare for the bot to get annoying. I apologize, guys. In a minute, it's going to spit out a message telling you that you should click the follow button. And if you are not currently following the channel, you should click the follow button. It is, wait, hang on, up and to my left, so that way, I think. Unless I got messed up because, you know, mirrors. So, okay, so if it sends out an automated message, then everything worked fine, and it actually found it. If it doesn't send out an automated message, well, then who knows? And actually, I'm amazed no one's trying out the commands. Come on, guys. Boom! Alright, we blew up. But at least it tried. See, it's funny. You guys can trigger stuff to blow up on my computer by typing commands into the chat. Try get first. Value cannot be null. Alright. That's a good question. What did happen there, guys? Either way, that was kind of cool, actually. I'm glad that worked, sort of-ish, kind of. Sort of. Alright, so we have one of these. It's coming out of here, and that was created there. We call process on this when we're out here. Yeah, it borked just a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a breakpoint there, and we'll take a look. We'll debug into this and see what we get. So it's running. So if I coins again, so we come in here. Our sender is a Twitch chat client. Our event args have coins in it. We should be able to find one that has that. Now it's gonna blow up. Null argument. Command messages. Is command messages null? Command messages is null because I didn't wire it up to actually use them, and that's what I screwed up. See? I left it as null. Despite the fact that I called this method and did nothing with it. See? Good thing we're pair programming, huh? Because you guys noticed that I left that as null and warned me about it. Clearly not my fault. I'm not the idiot that did null and broke it. Actually, I was that idiot. I'm the idiot. That was me. All right. So it did not send it. So we called process. Yeah, exactly. You were testing me. You just wanted to see if I'd messed that up. All right. So static response should have come in on the constructor. Did we actually have a static response in here? Did I store one? No, I don't have it. Command text I have, though. Ooh. Is it not saving all the properties of the type? It may not be. That is a good question. Fake data, what are you doing? Yeah, it didn't save them all. Hey, the bot says hello and welcome. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Feel free to follow along, make suggestions, and other things like that. Alright, cool. So that was the reason that I did an explicit type before. Which means I want to go to the place where we used this. Gonna go to the static one of these, go to the, nope, not the process, the constructor of this, which is in fake data. And inside of here, we are going to, so our serialization did not put in the full set of fields. Indicating whether there will be a check for additional content. I wonder what that is. That sounds promising. Yeah, so I'm serializing an interface. Oh, thanks. I like him too, Zero Rep. Yeah, so the reason it didn't serialize correctly, Magnus, is because we're serializing an interface. And so, our JSON serializer just did the properties of our interface. I'm going to shut down the bot right now, guys, so it doesn't get annoying. Because it keeps spamming to tell you guys to follow, and that's going to fill up chat if I let it do that once every minute. Okay, dented, new JSON serializer, so yeah. Yes, we love C#. It's good stuff. Missing member handling. Is that it? Oh, on deserialization. Okay, no, that's not the one we want. Yeah, so my tabs are colored by productivity power tools, as Magnus was saying. That's why they're set up the way they are. I also run ReSharper in here, so you'll notice some other bits from that as well. So if you are used to those, it'll make sense. Hey! Welcome, Zero Rep. Thanks for following. Nope. Well, let's ask the internet again. We're using this. Serializing an interface, abstract object using Newtonsoft JSON. And I'm sure they're running into the exact same problem. To output the type of that. That is not the problem I'm running into. Good try, though. Wait, this is like the reverse of what I want. With a simple class interface like this, name thing. So yeah, see, they want the JSON string with only the name. That's funny. They're running into the exact opposite problem. That's weird. Interwebs. Solve my problem. Type name handling all. I'm actually going to find out what that one is. Oh, that puts them on everything. Everything that has a type gets it. That's weird. Right, stockholder has a list of businesses. If we do that, businesses could be hotels. Why does this seem to imply... when you serialize an object that is a stockholder... Did hotel... So hotel has stars. Did it serialize stars? It claims it does. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I could be, guys. I could be. Alright, I'm going to nuke those again. We're going to run this again. It's going to bomb the first time, because that's what it does, because I kind of hacked that code together, and I don't feel like fixing that bug. Are you serious? Rage. See, this is why I need a fail or a derp emote inside of here, so you guys can basically spam that whenever I do something stupid. But yeah, seriously, if you guys want to talk about C# or ASP.NET while writing this code, feel free. We don't just have to talk about what we're writing here. We can generally talk about any of this stuff. So, as you probably know, I'm a fan of C#, .NET, .NET Core, ASP.NET Core, whatever you like. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and break it by sending in our coins command again. What? What? Hey! Welcome, Aaron Ref. It goes well. Aside from the fact that I expected my bot to blow up on me there, and it didn't, which is weird. Yeah, so I'm planning on switching this to just using a database at some point, which is... I use EF Core for some of the stuff that I do, and it's actually pretty nice. Are you using full EF 0rep or are you using EF Core? You doing .NET Framework stuff, .NET Core? Okay, so yeah, so full EF. Yes, we have all had a bit of that fun. So I end up running EF only because it's what MVC likes to use for all of their identity stuff. So when you want to use the built-in identity pieces, you end up using EF because it kind of puts it on you. But in a lot of cases, I try to get around it and use lighter weight solutions when I can. You can try and generate the entire query before running toList on it too many times to avoid multiple calls. Yes, Magnus is correct. So are you doing like what do you mean when you do a search request? Are you searching like are you trying to filter a table based on a string? And I guess, are you getting different performance from EF than you are from doing a SQL query directly? Okay, so we got our command message. Then when we go to process it, static response is null. Ah, because it's still coming in without the data. And then Twitch client is saying I can't send an empty message. Okay, so that's what's going on. No, based on multiple possible filtering, it's like, for example, tag such as type of... Ah, okay. So what you can do if you are having performance issues with EF, you can actually turn on tracing. If you Google for how to do it, you can get it to tell you what SQL queries it's actually running behind the scenes. Try running that SQL and see if that's slow. If it is not slow, and that runs quickly, then one of a couple of things could be the issue. It could be just an instance of, yeah, exactly. If you run SQL Profiler or something like that, like what Magnus is suggesting, you can take a look to see if it's the constructed SQL that is slow, or whether it is something that EF is actually doing in memory when you're running it. And if you are running into certain issues, there are lots of things you can find online for this. I've run into some very weird scenarios with it. But sometimes what you end up finding is that either you're making the same SQL call multiple times and you didn't realize it, or it could be that some of the data is getting pulled back and then you're doing filtering in memory. So like you might see in your SQL query, oh, it didn't actually do one of my filters and one of them is being applied in memory. So I'm pulling back too large a data set. Analyze query that will often find... Yeah, so if you... Analyze query inside of Management Studio usually suggests indexes and things like that that it can fix. And yes, you're correct. EF-generated queries are not always that great, which is why you sometimes need to be careful about how you tell it to create them. So, yeah, it's one of the costs of using an ORM to do that work for you. Let's see, memory's issue in the age of the database. It's like 6 years old and the structure is rather complex. Oh, yeah, that kind of thing will hit you all the time. I am assuming then that that you're probably having to connect a lot of separate tables, and it gets kind of complicated. Yeah, legacy code, it'll bite you. Yeah, the challenge with doing stored procedures is then you end up with a lot of the code in stored procedures, which for high performance things, I would agree with Magnus here, that you probably want to use stored procedures for anything that's all that complicated. A couple of reasons is you can usually get better performance out of a stored procedure than you can out of literal SQL. So it's something to look at. Someone who doesn't stream as far as I know, but really should, because she would be an awesome person to answer these questions, is Julie Lerman. I don't know if you know her, but she's among many of us pretty much just considered to be like the person that knows EF. Yeah, so Julie Lerman. Hang on. Yes. I will have to talk with her at some point and see if she wants to hop on here. She has been on other streams with other people. But that is Julie Lerman. I posted in chat a link to her on Twitter. She is awesome. Actually, she's been in this city before, even though she doesn't live in the state that I do. So she comes around every once in a while. She's Microsoft MVP, so she's in Bellevue right now, and I doubt will be hopping on any streams. Although she might hop on C# Fritz's. If you guys don't follow C# Fritz also, you should. So as I've mentioned previously, go ahead and click the follow button up at the top to know when I go live so you can catch this stream again. But you should also check out C# Fritz, and I will go ahead and post a link to his in here as well. Crimson Green's going to laugh at me because I have not wired up my bot with a shoutout command. So you should check out C# Fritz also. That's another C# streamer, if you couldn't guess based on his name being C# Fritz. He's actually a Microsoft employee. I am not. I am just a guy that loves their stuff. I am an ASP insider and a former Microsoft MVP. I used to be a Microsoft MVP with ASP.NET, but at least within the community, I don't do directly ASP.NET all that often. I mean, that's what I program mostly for my job, but that's not what most of my community interaction is these days. Either way, this is usually about the time that I start wrapping up the stream, so I figured I would start doing that now. Very likely what I'm going to do is make some commits. I do not use Internet Explorer, Magnus. That is a horrible thing to suggest. Although I do technically have it installed on my computer, I think. In addition to Edge. Yeah, Internet Explorer is installed. And Edge is installed, and I use neither of them. Which, some people will yell at me for. I have actually met the Internet Explorer team. They had I gotta say, those guys, brave individuals. They actually ventured into the ASP Insiders Summit one time to talk with us. We were pretty much honored that they were brave enough to do that, because no one dislikes Internet Explorer more than the web devs. So it's like, yeah, enter a room full of web developers. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. 3 options: Chrome, Firefox, or make your own. Yeah, so anyway, they were actually brave enough to talk to us, so I was really impressed. But anyway, so thanks everybody for stopping in. Yeah, Safari is, basically Chrome. So what I was going to say is that we're going to continue on with our bot another time. I'm planning on making some adjustments to it off stream, and I'll probably recap with what I change, just because I want to fix a few things. As I'm sure you guys know, when you're on stream, Concentration is always difficult with figuring out your code and talking to people and thinking about what you're saying. It's much easier to just sit down and write it. But anyway, we'll be back to that. And sometime soon I want to work on our soundboard again. So the other project that we were working on here is a soundboard for Twitch streamers, so we can just hit keyboard shortcuts and have little audio clips play. So yeah, we wouldn't be the only one that exists, but it works nicely. Do you think we should handle decisions in the project and track that? What do you mean by handle decisions in the project? You guys are all welcome to make suggestions either in chat or you can hop on GitHub. If you go to github.com/devchatter, you can find our projects there and make any suggestions for direction we take. You think we should handle decisions in the project and track? It actually would be a good idea to document some of the decisions we make in the project as we go. I've seen some interesting solutions for documenting decisions specifically, so that you have like your reasoning why. Is that what you were thinking, Magnus? So anyway, I'm going to keep wrapping up here. So I wanted to make sure that I thanked everybody that stopped by and everybody for talking. It was a really good stream today. So this is our first stream as a Twitch affiliate. So I figured I'd say that it went pretty well. I wanted to thank Crimson Green for being the first person to cheer in chat. That was pretty awesome. And we got a couple of new follows today from Zero Rep and Yoshimitsu. So thank you both for following. And anybody else that's in here that hasn't clicked that follow button, it's up there or somewhere else if you're on a mobile device. I don't know, down there somewhere. Look around, there's a heart or a follow or something. That'll get you a notification when we go live the next time. And hopefully we'll catch you then. We want to thank C# Fritz and CodeBytes TV for hosting us today. And we will continue on. Our next stream is tomorrow. It'll start at the same time, so that was 2 hours before now, roughly speaking. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's what, like 7 p.m. GMT, UTC, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, have a great rest of your day, whether it's evening, morning, or middle of the day. And have good coding, everybody. Bye.